Hello, people, and good morning. I wanted to share something that you probably haven't seen before. And in fact, it's kind of a funny story on how this even wound up being possible. Because you see, this morning I was sitting around in a meeting, bored out of my dang mind, basically hearing about how, hey, if you're having sales, you gotta ask for people to buy stuff for about the millionth time. So anyway, in the middle of all this, I thought, you know what? For no reason whatsoever, I think I'm going to go try for the millionth time to go reassemble an old PSP. See, back in the day, used to go reassemble and, take apart all kinds of different game systems, PSPs, what have you, and then just kind of resell them online. And, to make a long story short, I had one that literally had been chucked in a swimming pool and then, well, more or less crudely taken apart and shoved back together in a Ziploc bag that I picked up for a couple bucks at one of those garage sales. And so, well, I couldn't get the thing running for the longest time. I couldn't get the wireless running. I thought that was a complete hopeless lost cause. I couldn't get the buttons to stop twitching out all over the place. And over the course of the last year, it feels like this has been a long journey to make this particular thing happen. You see, a while ago, Mr. Vale was telling me about the fact that, the War of the Lions remake on PSP had a multiplayer mode, and this is something that they never put back in for future releases. And additionally, they only ever really bothered to put the actual prizes from these things in different areas. So actually trying to get it running through an emulator is difficult to impossible depending on a bunch of random factors that I don't quite understand and a bunch of fiddliness that usually happens when you try to run network stuff through that kind of setup. But in the course of this morning's boredom, I managed to get the wireless working on this old PSP through the course of somebody randomly offering some advice a few months back on how to fix a joystick issue on the Vita. Weirdly enough, I ended up taking that same idea and then just kind of drenching the crap out of this thing's insides with, with all manner of chemicals that probably technically shouldn't be in there, meaning that the thing was glitching out even harder for several months until it finally dried out. And now it seems to function normally. Why am I going on about this whole thing? Well, it turns out there is a legit way to get this all to run, and, well, it's kind of the old way that you would have expected. You get two things that can run PSP stuff and get them to talk to each other. And the funny part is, I wouldn't have expected this, but shockingly, despite most of the other network stuff not quite working right, when it comes to a Vita, it is able to talk to a PSP just fine, meaning that, yeah, both of their wireless things are working perfectly at the moment. Now, I will say I didn't have any of my old save files, so I just kind of got a generic one off of online. For the actual PSP here, I'm using a save editor to kind of cheat in some cheesy units so that we can hopefully see more of these missions at one time. Because I will say this particular save file here did not have a whole lot to work with, and I just didn't feel like digging through a million different save files to see what had what. So, what do you do here? Well, you go to the old Rendezvous. So, rendezvousing with another player will allow you to team up in order to complete cooperative missions. You may keep any items you obtain during this battle mode, including any items that you steal or catch. Any items that you lose during the battle will be restored at the battle's end. Should any of your equipment be stolen or rent, aka broken, in the course of combat, it will be restored afterwards. Arithmetics may not be used in cooperative missions, and using the poach ability on monsters will not produce any items. Any units whose KO counts expire will be removed from the battle during its remaining duration. They are not lost, however, and will be restored to your party at the battle's end. Enemy units who are charmed by means of entice will temporarily fight for you, but will not become permanent members of your party. Upon finishing a mission, you'll be evaluated on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Defeating more enemies or using a smaller number of units will earn you higher evaluation and greater rewards. You may repeat a particular mission any number of times, allowing you to continue trying for a better evaluation. And based off of that right there, it makes me wonder why on earth they didn't offer a single-player version of this, because this seems like a really cool challenge mode. This is essentially, take Knight of Lotus's adventure mode, or quest mode there, and you split it up between two people. Why would you split it up between two people? Just have it be a single-player thing. Anyway, hell, limit it to like 2 or 3 units and you're fine. Anyway, so we start a mission. So we're going to host on this one. I'm going to go ahead and join on the PSP here. Oh man, gotta love when that thing is so old and janky the buttons don't even click back anymore. Anyway, partner found. No way. And by the way, for anyone wondering, yes, this does mean that potentially we can have Formula Front at some point. for some reason, it gave me some weird angry warnings in Japanese that I didn't understand, so maybe somebody will figure that out at some point. Anyway, so... oh, and by the way, yeah, the transfer, team transfer thing for Tactics Ogre also works, so potentially some fun stuff there. We'll see. So, Chocobo defense. So, Fovahan's Chocobos face poaching on a scale never before seen. If naught is done, their population will fall to the levels that they cannot hope to recover. Please save the birds from the soulless poachers before the sound of working is lost to the wilds. Well, lost forever to the wildflats, I should say. Yeah, we're kind of repeating this for about the 8th time because I kept running into all kinds of crazy glitches. So, yeah, fantastic. Anyway, let's not read that again, please. All right. I will say it is funny, you know, the first few times, not after you've done it over and over and over. All right. So, let's just toss some random dudes in here. Move you over here, put one guy over here, put a dragoon over here. Yeah, the save file just seems to have a whole mix of all kinds of weirdness, so, yeah, they're gonna be all over the dang place. And alright, so we'll go ahead and get this one saved, while the other one will be running some straight-up cheats, so we'll go ahead and go with that, mostly because I wanted to show off some of the cool stuff that's, well, that's potentially in this mode. So, if you didn't know, there are... Let me just skip this a little bit. Ignore the fact that we basically have a turbo meteor chicken. You know what? The save file wouldn't let me, or rather, the save editor would cause this entire mode to crash if I tried to do anything too cool, so instead I just added a bunch of speed to Mr. Pro Cow, the fire chicken. Any dang ways, you might be wondering why I didn't just edit both save files, or move it over. So the save editor, in this particular case, kind of uses a weird system where it kind of has to have a file already in there, and then it kind of tweaks that file actively. It's weird. I didn't really want to mess with it or mess with different plugins on the Vita at the moment. Like, for all of this, like, for the actual mode to run, just know that it can run legit. It's kind of crazy. So while I am using, you know, some different edits to have a save file ready to go, yeah, it's absolutely not required for this. In fact, from what I've seen, these maps will actually scale down to your level. Anyway, so, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, whirligigs. I'm assuming he means, you know, the undercarriage regions, but we're just gonna leave that weirdness as it is. I don't think anyone has ever said something along the lines of whirligigs to any degree of threat, but, you know, you do as you do. Also, it seemed appropriate to bring a fire-breathing chicken over here to defend the other chickens. How on earth well, this whole situation's gonna go awry for the chickens when, quite frankly, they've, well, what are we talking about here? These guys, I mean, we've taken out easily 3 times this number in a single map before. I don't know how this is the kind of poaching that'll potentially cause an issue for them. So, overall, as far as this mode's performance, I mean, aside from the general jank of the game and, well, in terms of how it normally runs, I will say it's not anything terribly unusual. I really would have expected worse in terms of overall lag. Again, I'm not sure why they decided to do it this particular way, but oh well. And apparently I have an alarm going off in the background. I swear, every time I try to do anything today, it has been cursed. Something will go off. Okay, give me one moment to go turn that off. Alrighty, and I'm back. We are not restarting this again. Let's do this thing. Alright, so, got some guy running here with a doom knife. Now, I have been specifically told to take a look at some of the weird party formations, because apparently they've got some really interesting battles going on here. So, haven't quite seen that yet. I mean, obviously this is just kind of your starting intro thing. But, well, as soon as we get a team that's actually on the Vita here, then we'll be able to take a proper look, see what we're actually dealing with. And by the way, if you're wondering what's with the blue, or what's with the transparent onion knight over there, one of the things that that I just figured what the hell for on the save file. I put a Onion Knight in full Onion Gear, which is one of the rewards you get for completing this game mode. So yeah, if you ever wondered how to make them go from kind of terrible to kind of ridiculous, that's how. And yeah, Turbo Chicken's here to kind of ease us through this this particular thing. Just kind of leave him as he is to do his thing. Eventually, we'll get a actual turn on the camera here. This guy forgetting that maces are kind of terrible. Oh, and if you're curious why on earth I have an axe over there on Ramza, I don't know. It just seemed like a fun idea. For some reason, ever since the Cerebro run, and especially after Twitch finally allowed for sending over some of the random clips and things the other day, I just kind of canonically always want to see my main character for FFT with an axe. I don't know why. I know they suck, but something about it just appeals at the current moment. Okay. So not seeing anything too crazy so far. It seems like most of this weird equipment they've already got. Or rather, they've already got just kind of off the bat. Like that Doom Knife guy seemed to always have his Doom Knife with him, despite the fact that you know, the others were running around with daggers and broadswords. When I tested this on like levels 1 and 2, they came in at 5. So I'm assuming there's probably like a minimum amount that it'll end up scaling to. But anywho, it's a very, very sloggy experience so far, I'll say that much. It's definitely not the fastest thing in the world, but again, that can be said for the War of the Lions remake in general anyway. And you may have heard me gripe about this particular version before, and it's largely because I'm just used to how snappy the original is. Like, you don't really have as much of this slowdown and everything else going on, because you have these little slowdown spikes, you've got these little, oh, sorry, the controls are a little odd. There we go. Let's see what's it going to do to that guy. 90, but critical health is good for him. There we go. We'll just go ahead and kind of nuke that general area. Sounds good to me. I kind of want this guy to get hit, but let's see if we can... Wait, does he not even have a... Wow. Apparently this guy doesn't even have a weapon on him. Yeah, I think he gets full health if he gets nuked here. I don't quite remember how critical critical recover works on this one. It's been a hot minute. Let's see. Does this guy even have any equipment? He's got a stick. Alright, that's workable. Let's go ahead and move this over here. I'll just smack this guy with a stick, because most of the Orator abilities are, I'd assume, going to be pretty unlikely to actually hit here. Wow. Wait, he's using a rod, not a stick. Brain, it's been a minute. Gotta talk about this misremembering everything. Alright. Go ahead and get this guy going with his transparent, basically immortal self. You know what, for all the craziness that they got off their stats and everything, that's kind of mediocre. I gotta say. Really would have expected more on that. I mean, he's not invisible anymore, I guess. That's weird. That is really weird. All right. But again, it's been a minute since vanilla here, so it's gonna give me a little bit of a minute. And for the rest of the maps, like right now, I kind of just want to have them do particular things. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the second one to a guard AI and just play as the main one, so that we don't have as long of a pause between different things here. In fact, oh, AI can't be used in co-op fights. Oh man, what the? Rude. All right. Which is kind of funny because, okay, so it says that you can't use AI, but you know what the funny thing is? If you already have it set as AI before this fight, it'll just use AI. It's kind of great. So, kind of a bit of an oversight. I mean, I guess that could be, well, could be more or less everything involved with FFT in a nutshell. It's like, hey, this is pretty neat, but wait, there's a bit of an oversight here. Alright, is that full health? No, it's a minor health. Wow. Critical health recovery sucks. Okay. Again, a little bit spoiled by Cerebro mod, gotta say. So actually, wait a minute. No, I think the critical full health thing, I'm thinking of Fell Seal on that one. Because, yeah, if you're going to have a critical heal, you might as well at least have it do something. This is rather slow. In fact, yeah, if they're going to be this slow, I think I might just do them one at a time. Was really expecting this to go a little bit faster, maybe have a little bit more going on, but this does seem to be, like, just uniquely set up fights on existing maps if this is anything to go on so far. And it's not really a great sign that they picked so many units that have abilities with the slowdown issue with them. But okay, let's go take a look at these parties since I forgot to do that last time. So yeah, Assassin's Dagger, fairly standard scaled up equipment on that guy, Air Knife, neat. Another Assassin Dagger, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's anything too special. This guy's got a hammer, nothing really... Wait, why Brawler? Is this crap random? What? It's okay. Sure, why not? Yeah, and boost that unarmed damage while you're armed. So he's got Poach on him. I guess that's fitting thematically here. Brawler? Yeah, why do these guys all have Brawler? Oh, I know why they have Brawler. Okay, it's kind of a... I gotcha. It's kind of a 1,000 IQ play, as they say, because so many people would come into a thing like this and just break or steal their weapons. So naturally, you'd want to have Brawler on there as a backup plan. All right, fair enough. See, like that's the kind of stuff that that I actually really did like about FFT. That like you could basically have backup plans for your equipment. That's something that I always respected in any game. That's one of the reasons that I loved Xenonauts and X Division and all that so much. Because, yeah, you kind of had to have backup plans for when your equipment inevitably got exploded. Alright, there's a bunch of dudes about to go do a bunch of things, and I think we're gonna go toad a dude. Yeah, go toad that guy. I told you that's what we're gonna do. Alright, well, I guess we might as well punch the random squire. Why not? At least the windmill map still looks nice. I mean, all things considered, it's a pretty nice map. It's kind of awkwardly staring down at both screens here to see who's going to get a turn first. Oh, man. Ah, the chicken didn't get his counter. I was going to say the chicken's carrying the fight. He's carrying his own saving over here. Okay, gonna throw a rock at that guy. Neato. You know, I never did actually test what it would be like to route out a throwing rock only run. Actually, wait, didn't I? No, wait, yeah, I did. Totally did. That was just basically spam accumulate, and then you do real good with the rocks. Then again, you just spam accumulate, you do good with everything. I think that's what kind of makes it weird to go back to FFT after so many years of Tactics Ogre and all that. It's just like, it usually ends up boiling down to like, here's this one mechanic that you kind of have to do, instead of here's 20 different potential options to go with. Sounds a little bit, sounds a little dismissive, but I do still kind of like this game. It's fun. Right, what's empowerment again? Is that this? No, that's, it's invigoration. That's a health steal, right? Well, go ahead and yoink that guy's health, please. Mr. Oracle, would you like to kindly eat a dude? Alright, not really much that we can do here. They don't get any items. Like, I kind of feel like the Onion Knight would have benefited from what they did with what's it? The Alchemist from FFTA, where they gave them innate items despite the fact that they didn't actually equip items. And more Cocoa Meteor. Out of curiosity, do you guys ever call this Choco Meteor or Cocoa Meteor? Because I know personally I always wanted to call it Cocoa, but I suppose it probably should be Choco, right? This is a bit less invigorating than I... a little bit less exciting than I would have figured after all of the build-up, but whatever. I'm just glad this is working, you know? Even if it's a little bit... well, it's slow. This version is so dang slow. So as far as I've seen, and it might have been something else, but as far as I can tell, you can't use the slowdown fix with the multiplayer mode. So yeah, that's just not a thing that's happening. So yeah, hope you enjoy this 10 frames per second and all that kind of business. I still appreciate the joke of the golden axe. Alright, we got 2 dudes over here and a frog. 2 dudes and a frog. It's a sequel to 2.5 Men. We got 60, we got 60. Anything from this? 80. Yeah, you know what? 80 is alright. Probably could go for the meteor because it probably would do more damage, but... oh well. I mean, we've won at this point. We've won it at this point, but I seriously prefer... so far, what I'm going to keep comparing it to, and what it's just going to be a contest in my mind over who did it better. Is it going to be Knight of Lotus's quest mode, or is it going to be Rendezvous mode? Because currently, I am completely on quest mode's boat. In terms of how on earth is it that the the GPA game that folks were saying is so slow it's almost unplayable is somehow way faster than this. I mean, I really don't know why people give Knight of Lotus so much crap, because seriously, it's not, it's simple enough that the slowdown does not matter that much. But anyway, I feel like it's worth bringing up in this particular context. Let's go ahead and have the wizard do some drugs, as you do. Bzz. I mean, he's not really actually using the item, so fair enough. And in fact, this probably would be a fantastic way, since they said no consumables are used, since you only have so many ethers, probably would be a really good way to potentially cheese having such a low amount of those. I can imagine casters would probably be the kind of the order of the day here. Just gonna have him go for the frog, because the frog probably won't be moving anytime soon. See if the... no, the oracle is gonna be very slow. Fantastic. Alright, you're just gonna go right there, and just wait. Alright, and in terms of overall delay, by the way, for anyone curious, in total there seems to be about a 1 to 3 second delay. So for movement and just kind of general orders and things like that, it seems like the delay is closer to about a second, whereas when it comes to the moves themselves, typically it is about 3 seconds or more, presumably because it needs to take 3.5 hours for the actual animation to load. But there you go. For those technically minded folks that might have been curious. I mean, this is alright. I can't say this has really blown my mind at any point for anything, but it's alright. It's a solid okay. Come on, counter. Nice. We somehow came in here to save the chickens from getting poached. We came in to save 2 chickens, and we are leaving with 3. Makes sense. Now, I don't remember if the Bard songs actually slowed stuff down, because I remember them being pretty darn slow, so we'll see. And by the way, when I was going on about the sounds in this game, and again, I'm sorry to be kind of negative on this particular port. It's just when you hear the sounds on it, and it's just like that, that it doesn't have the echo or like, you know how you have when you have a good screaming sound, and this is gonna be really psychotic sounding. When you have a good screaming sound, it's like there's like that whole like there's kind of like some graveliness to it. That's what the original did. So it seemed super weird hearing this one. And most of the animations, like the whole, even the pecking, and this one it's like a pew pew kind of sound. In the original, it sounded like somebody punching a friggin' board or something. Let's see, bonus, really, 25k. Considering it scales down to level 5, holy crap, that's busted. Please select a chest. Yeah, that one, I guess. You get 3 loot chests, okay. So I'm gonna open our first one, and... oh, each one's individual. On the other one, they got a wizard robe, and this one we got a phoenix down, okay. So we got a diamond bracelet, and... battle boots, okay. On the other one, we got a high ether and a phoenix down. Okay. I mean... alright. Sure. It seems like the way bigger reward was the 25k. You're now a level 3 Defender of the Wild. Okay. Got another Rendezvous. Okay, so can we host a new mission? Alright. So same thing here. We're gonna go ahead and let them connect. Partner found. Now, is it still gonna be Chocobo Defense? Okay, so it's still Chocobo Defense. So presumably the lower stuff goes, the more stuff you get, or the lower your... what am I saying here? Lower your amount of turns and lower number of units, you get some more interesting stuff. So if that's going to be the case, I'd assume I'm going to need to go set up a different save file where we've got maybe a bit more going on story-wise, presumably more unlocks later. I'm going to have to look into that. But for the time being, there we go. That was the first one. So yeah, it turns out if you've got 2 PSPs, or like a Vita and a PSP, or even 2 Vitas, it seems to work just fine. PPSSPP seems to have a hard time communicating with itself. Apparently there's a method that works for some people, going and getting it to connect to a phone, or potentially might be able to get 2 phones to talk to each other. But if you've got these laying around, still works perfectly fine, so you might be able to make this mode work for you. And if you... I'm going to reserve any future sayings on how it compares to anything else until we get to test out the rest of the missions for it. So, you guys have a good one, take care, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.